Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest? Always talking, always proving something, always chasing validation. But the strongest person, the one who moves in silence, that's the one who truly wins. Let me tell you something. Life has a way of giving you exactly what you need at exactly the right time. But only if you learn to be still. Only if you learn to be quiet. Only if you learn to trust the process. Because when you stop forcing, when you stop begging, when you stop explaining yourself to people who never cared to understand you, that's when life starts working in your favor. The right things will come, the right people will stay, the wrong ones will remove themselves. All you have to do is stay silent and let it happen. Silence is power, not just the absence of words, but the presence of awareness. The moment you stop talking, the moment you resist the urge to explain yourself, defend yourself, or prove your worth to those who don't deserve your energy, that's when you take back control. You begin to listen, not just to words, but to what isn't being said, to the energy in the room, to the hidden motives behind people's actions, to the truth that's buried beneath all the noise. Most people can't handle silence. They talk because they fear it. They talk because they feel invisible. They talk because they think being louder makes them stronger. But true strength isn't about how much you say. It's about what you do in the moments of restraint. It's about patience. It's about having the discipline to observe and understand before reacting. Think about the people you admire most, the leaders, the visionaries, the ones who command respect effortlessly. They don't waste words. They don't fill space with meaningless chatter. They don't try to impress you with empty promises or exaggerated stories. When they speak, people listen. And why? Because their words carry weight. And what gives their words weight? Experience, wisdom, intention. That's the power of silence. When you stop talking, you start listening. Not just to others, but to yourself. You begin to recognize the thoughts that truly matter. You start noticing the warnings you once ignored. You see more clearly who is truly for you and who is just playing a role in your life. Because when you're always speaking, you can't observe, you can't analyze, you can't read between the lines, and you miss the moments when people reveal exactly who they are. People will always show you who they are if you let them, but most never notice because they're too busy trying to prove something. When you stay silent, you create space for people to reveal their true nature. You don't have to ask if they're loyal. Just watch. You don't have to beg for respect. Just be still and see how they treat you when you're no longer performing for their approval. Winning in life isn't about how much you say. It's about how much you understand. When you listen more than you speak, you learn. You pick up on opportunities before they become obvious. You see people's true intentions before they have the chance to deceive you. You sense situations shifting before they catch you off guard. Silence brings clarity. And clarity is what separates the strong from the weak. Think of a chess game. The best players don't make reckless moves. They don't announce their strategy. They sit in silence, reading the board, studying their opponent, waiting for the right moment to act. That's how life works. The ones who talk too much, they expose their plans before they even make a move. They reveal their weaknesses without even realizing it. But the one who stays quiet, the one who observes, that's the one who always stays ahead. People respect silence more than words, because anyone can talk, anyone can make promises, anyone can claim to be strong, wise, or in control. But real power doesn't need to announce itself. Real power is felt. It's in presence, in action, in the ability to sit in silence and still command attention. When you stop talking, you start noticing. You pick up on the little shifts in people when they're lying. You hear the subtle changes in their tone when they're being insincere. You recognize hesitation, contradictions, and the energy behind their words. And that level of awareness, that depth of understanding, is something most people never reach, because they're too busy filling the silence instead of listening to what it reveals. There's a reason why the quietest people in the room are often the most powerful. They're not silent because they have nothing to say. They're silent because they're watching, because they're analyzing, because they understand that words can be a distraction. But silence is a weapon. When you start listening more than you speak, you realize just how much unnecessary noise exists in the world. How many arguments aren't worth your energy? How many explanations are wasted on people who have already decided what they want to believe? How many apologies you never needed to give because you weren't wrong in the first place? Silence is power. It stops you from reacting impulsively. It keeps you from saying things you'll later regret. It helps you avoid battles that aren't worth your energy. It allows you to move with purpose, with precision, and with a clear mind. When you embrace silence, you begin to filter out those who crave your attention, but lack your best interests at heart. You stop engaging in conversations that drain you. You no longer feel the urge to respond to every insult, every doubt, or every challenge thrown your way. Because true strength doesn't argue. It simply exists, unshaken, undeniable. Some of life's greatest victories come not from speaking, but from knowing when to stay quiet. From letting your actions, your discipline, and your results speak for you. From keeping your emotions guarded. From refusing to react when others expect you to. Because the moment someone learns how to provoke you, they gain control over you. But when you remain silent, when you refuse to let them dictate your response, that's when you become unstoppable. It's not easy to be silent in a world that equates being loud with being important, but real significance, real power, has nothing to do with how much noise you make. It's in the weight of your presence. It's in the impact of your actions. It's in the discipline of knowing when to hold back. When you stop talking, you start listening. And when you start listening, you start winning. Because wisdom lives in the quiet. Strength is built in stillness. And those who master silence master life. Desperation repels what you desire. The more you chase something, the more it resists you. This applies not only to people, but to everything. Success, relationships, respect, opportunities. The moment you start running after them, you give off an energy of lack, of neediness, and nothing valuable responds well to desperation. Think about it. Have you ever tried catching a butterfly with your hands? The more you reach for it, the further it flies. But the moment you stand still, the moment you stop grasping, it lands gently on your shoulder. Life works the same way. The harder you chase, the faster things slip away. But when you stop, when you focus on yourself, when you embody patience and confidence, everything starts gravitating toward you. People are naturally drawn to what feels rare, what feels valuable. But when you chase someone, when you make yourself too available, you diminish that value. Your actions send the message that you're willing to overextend yourself just to keep them in your life. And when someone senses that they're more important to you than you are to yourself, they begin to take you for granted. They pull away. They push boundaries. Because you've shown them they don't have to work to keep you. But when you stop chasing, when you stop initiating every conversation, making every call, and trying to prove your worth, that's when things shift. That's when people start noticing your absence. That's when they begin to wonder why you're no longer available, why you've stopped trying. And suddenly they start chasing you. Not because you manipulated them, but because you finally understood your value enough to stop running after what was never running toward you. The same principle applies to success. Those who thrive in life aren't the ones begging for opportunities. They aren't the ones forcing things before their time. They are the ones who prepare, who build, who remain patient. They trust the process. They work in silence. And because of that, the right opportunities naturally find them. Look at the people who are desperate to be liked, always trying to prove themselves. They're exhausting to be around. They try too hard. They overcompensate. And in doing so, they lose respect. But those who carry themselves with quiet confidence, who aren't desperate for validation, command attention effortlessly. They don't need to be liked. They simply exist as they are.